Hey there, friend. My name's Hunter. You're probably wondering where I've been. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. My work decided they wanted to go and have me do 12-hour days this past week and then, come in today, a Saturday. It's Saturday at the time of this recording. Not so much, I don't necessarily mind the 12-hour days. It's just they had me come in early instead of staying over. Sometimes they have you come in early, sometimes they have you stay over. This time around, I had to come in early, which means I came in at like 4 a.m. and stayed till 4 p.m. And I've got like a 30-minute drive, so I have to wake up at like 3 a.m., 2:30 to 3 a.m. in the morning, get dressed and then make the drive. So I've been tired, but I finally got some sleep last night. Oh yeah, to kick off the week, I don't think my supervisor realized it when she made the schedule, but to kick things off, Monday I actually stayed over, and then the next day I came in early. So Monday I came in at 8, left at 4, then had to turn around and come back in at 4 a.m. and leave at 4. So 4 p.m. to 4 a.m., that's literally just 8 hours of in between there. So even like, there's no way I was getting my 8 hours of sleep within that window because, 30 minutes back home, 30 minutes back to work, and then family obligations and stuff. I think I ended up getting 4 hours of sleep Monday night. So kind of went from there. I'm kind of tired today too, but I got my I think I got closer to 10 hours last night because I only had to do 8 hours today. And so I'm feeling much better. I'm tired now because I think I just need another round of that and then I'll be good. This coming week seems like it's going to be easier. I've been having to come in early because we just can't keep anyone on third shift. Like our one regular guy, he finally quit. He had been there a little while, but he finally quit. And then, each time someone quits, we usually go through a good handful of people before we finally get someone reliable who sticks around. And I don't blame them. No one, there's better things to do out there. But I think what I really wanted to talk about today, I wanted to talk about it Tuesday, but I was tired. I went to my first book club. So the book was... There it is. Strangers in Time by David Baldacci. I actually picked this up at a book sale. I think it was last month or the month before. And it was in my to be read pile. So I've got that. I've still got this. I still have not gotten around to Rocket's Red Glare yet because I just had such a backlog of books, and then the work thing set me back even further. But I did read... I got so many books here. Hold on. Here's a bag. I'm gonna need it. I did finish Gorky Park too. Gorky Park was good. It was written back in 1981, I think. 1991. Hold on. I know how to check. I learned this from a librarian because, so when they have the book sale, this wasn't from a sale. I got this from a free yard sale thing. But originally published in 1981. Whenever they have the book sale, it goes by publication date. So books published last year cost $5. The year before that's $3. The year before that's $1. Anything before that's I think 25 cents, 50 cents. They get pretty cheap there. And so I got me some books. And Strangers in Time was one. That was one of the $5 ones because it was published last year, 2025. And actually, that one, I told my wife, I was like, because I'm trying to diversify genres. I'm trying to, have an appreciation for different stories and stuff. So I told my wife, just go there and pick one at random for me, if you don't mind. And, Strangers in Time was the one she picked. And I had it for a little bit. I was definitely planning on reading it eventually, but I was going to read Rocket's Red Glare first because that was the first one I got. And things just... earlier this month, late last month, I saw the Facebook post that there was going to be a book club at, not the library I usually go to, but another one that's not too far from us. And it was going to be Strangers in Time. I was like, okay, well, there's a reason to read the book now. So I moved that up the to read list. I think I was already like almost finished with Gorky Park, or like, you know, or Gorky Park was right after that one, because I had started Gorky Park at some point and then I put it to the side to finish Strangers in Time. And great book, by the way. I'm planning on touching up more on that probably next month when I do my 3 books, or actually it's closer to 5 books. I think I finished 5 books this month, working on another one, because I also got a NetGalley profile, and I'll go into more into that later in the video if I remember to. But yeah, The Strangers in Time was really good. It's a historical fiction book set in World War II London. Very heartbreaking book, because it's around when the Germans are doing the air raids like most nights, and like really good. Like it is historical fiction, but there's also a lot of good tidbits of learning and stuff in there too. Like one thing I thought was messed up was it was taught about how the I can't remember the details, but like the Nazis would put these horns or something on the bombs, so when they fell, they would make this whistling sound, and they called them the Jericho's trumpets or something like that. I was like, no, that's messed up, dude. And it also talked about there's another one. I'm sure it'll come to me eventually. Talked about like the ration tickets or something. So like everyone gets these little ration books they take, and they can get, you know, their food, and a lot of the times it's not much, and just fantastic characters there. Kind of leans young adult, because the 2 main characters are like, one's 13 going on 14 and the other one's 15 going on 16, I believe. But then there's a third character who's like an actual adult, so they all have to come together to get through the war. Something I really liked about it was that third character, the adult character, his first name is Ignatius. His last name's Oliver. They mostly refer to him as Oliver throughout the book, but I really liked that his first name was Ignatius, because right before I started Strangers in Time, I was reading a classic book called A Confederacy of Dunces, and the main protagonist for that book, his name is Ignatius Riley, but still I thought, what a coincidence. I never really see the name Ignatius, and then here it is back to back. So I thought that was pretty interesting. How do you like this format, by the way? I usually have like a game going here, but I started this recording trying to play a game and talk to you. Then I was like, man, this game's distracting. I just want to talk to the camera for right here, talk directly to you. Because I figure like these are kind of intended just to have them on in the background anyway. If you're looking directly at me, I'm so sorry. I'm a mess right now. Yeah. So the book was good. The book club. So I went to that. If you don't know this about me already, I have like varying levels of social anxiety. I'm okay here talking to you. I've been doing this for a while now. I think I'm just more used to this. And I'm okay with talking to my direct family and stuff like that. And like at work, whatever I need to get things done at work, I can pretty well do. But outside of that, there are just some things that like my safety behaviors, I guess you call them, just hold me back from. And that was a lot of why I really wanted to go to this book club. I've been wanting to go to a book club for a while, and one of the problems is most of them are either during my work hours, or they're like by the time I get off work, they're so far away that I wouldn't have time to drive to them, and then before they'd be over. And I actually did have to take a half day of work for this one. I had to put in a vacation day for the last half of the day to even go to it. But like I was like, man, that's the book I bought. What a coincidence. It was kind of meant to be. So, and I just wanted to, really wanted to try out one of these book clubs to kind of give myself exposure therapy into really knocking out this social anxiety. And it's been working. If I remember, I'll give you more details on that later. But yeah, I really wasn't even sure what to expect. Actually, there is one book club that's outside my work hours, but it's a romance novel book club. Like they pick a different trope every month, and you can read whatever book you want, but it has to follow that trope. And I just, for one, I'm like, yeah, I think these are mostly for, like, it says everyone's welcome, but I feel like it's mostly a women thing. And like, at first it's like, yeah, I don't want to make them awkward being like the only man at this romance book club. But then I kept thinking about like, well, maybe I would be awkward. It's like, I still want to, like, it's not even off the table for me. I'm trying to find a good like romance novel just to ease my way into it and check out that genre too. Again, just for the sake of like diversifying genres. It's not necessarily like, oh, I got to go find this. Like, you know, I've been reading thrillers and mysteries, historical fiction. I want to, at least dip my toes into like a romance novel. Some of the ones I've been reading, they do have like romance as like a side item, but I feel like I haven't read like a full on whatever, or maybe that's how they all. I don't know, but yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, so the day comes and we finally go to the library, which is hosting the book club. We get there a little bit early, about 30 minutes early, so we had time to kind of explore, because we haven't been to this library yet. We've been to a lot of the libraries in the area, but we haven't been to this one yet. It was a pretty nice one. As soon as we go in, there's like a desk off to the side, close to the door, and this older guy was putting together this big puzzle. They had little puzzles over there. I thought it was really cool. They all have like different stuff, but they all have pretty cool activities. This one particularly had a pretty good like little kids area. Again, they all have most of them have a kids area from what I've seen, but this one was pretty cool. It didn't have the little kids computers like some of the other ones have, because a lot of them have like the computers preloaded with these like kids games and stuff. This one didn't have. It had the ones for adults, but not the ones for kids. It had like puzzles and board games and stuff like that the kids could play with. And so my wife kind of took them over there and distracted them while I was like, kind of trying to get myself ready for this book club. Like, maybe I'll meet some people to talk to and stuff like that. And I even, worked up the courage to go and like ask someone at the front desk, hey, you got the book club today? And she was like, yeah, but it's going to be at 4:00. And like, even that interaction took me a minute. Like, I'm slowly getting better at it. Just, I don't know why simple questions like that feel like a mountain, but I got it. But where it gets interesting though is, so I'm waiting there. The time's getting closer. I finally see, like, I should say I saw the announcement on like a Facebook post, and the post only had like 5 likes on it, so I was like, man, not everyone who likes the post actually shows up to the thing, so I might be the only one who even shows up here. But I saw this one kind of elderly lady who had happened to be there, and she was holding the books like, oh, she's here for the book club. Okay, well, might have some like, older people at the book club today. The book club time finally comes around, and the lady at the front desk, she's like, hey, it's starting over there in the conference room if you want to go on over there. Like, okay. So I go in, and it's the conference room. It's got all these tables in there. The book club is at this one table kind of close to the back, so I'm kind of, I'm doing the awkward walking in. Everyone's like, hey, and I was the only man there out of like 10 or 11 elderly women. Apparently men don't read, and younger people don't read either. There was someone who might have passed for like late 40s, maybe. I think that was the youngest one I saw, but most of them, let me put it to you this way. We were talking about the book, World War II historical fiction. A couple of the people talked about remembering it, like actually living through it. Of course, like here in the stateside, not in London, but they were talking about like the newspapers and stuff like that, and how like, of course back then it wasn't like instant news. You'd have to wait a little bit to actually see what was happening. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess the fact that I had to take off work for it should have told me something. Like, obviously, who has time to go to book clubs during normal the usual work hours, people who are retired, old people who are retired. So like, I guess if I had thought more into it, I would have been like, of course they're going to be older people. Still wasn't, I still probably wouldn't have figured out the gender thing, that it was all women there, but the age thing I probably could have figured out for myself. They were extremely nice as can be, dude. So the person who was like, I don't want to say the leader, but like the person who kind of administrated, I guess, she brought these little this tray of cookies, not like homemade cookies. That would have been way too stereotypical. It was like, book club full of grandmas, and they brought out the homemade cookies, but no, they were like the little Walmart ones with like the frosting on them. And that was really nice. And one of the librarians was there, and she passed out bottled water for everyone, which is super nice. I didn't know they were going to do that, but I was grateful for it because my mouth was kind of dry there. I think I was just nervous or something, and it's been hot out lately anyway. But that was pretty cool. So, they were super nice. The person who organized it was like, they of course asked my name. I told them my name, and then she went around the table like, this is this person, again, 10 or 11 people. And then she jokingly says at the end, all right, now there's going to be a quiz on this. But they were really nice. And like, I know we were all going there to discuss the book, but like, it still came as, I don't want to say a shock, but it was still just surprising to me how well they knew the book. And then like what, and it was, I don't have a lot of people to read with, I guess. My wife's been reading the Warrior series, but it's very interesting. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, you go in and like, oh, hey, we already know about this. We just met, but we're all on the same page, no pun intended, with this. And also, I thought another thing that was pretty cool was just they seem really, smart, like not arrogant, not cocky smart, but like well-educated people. They, like, one lady had a stack of books that she was going to check out, and like you could tell they were seasoned readers. Actually, they were very seasoned David Baldacci readers in particular too, because they were all talking about this is a little bit different from what he usually writes, and they were talking about how, like, and for this one in particular, the ending felt kind of rushed and stuff like that. I was like, wow, it was a nice change of pace to, I'm not necessarily saying to see other readers, but just meet people who seem fairly smart. Like, I don't want to like knock on anyone here in Tennessee, but here in the great state of Tennessee, especially in the factory where I work in, I just, a lot of people are good, like working on cars and stuff like that. But then when it comes to like, hey, we got a problem with the computer, usually I'm over there and like, and probably the same thing for them. Old people aren't too good at computers. But let me tell you, I had this one older guy I worked with. He didn't know how to put an exclamation point into the computer, so I was like, oh gosh, we got some work to do here. That's one of the things about my job is the guy was super awesome guy. He just recently retired, but the job is, it's not like super computer heavy, but it does require some computer skills. And then they go and every time they bring like an old person back there, like 60, 70, probably not 80. It's like, okay, so we got to teach you the basics of the job. We got to teach you a basic computer class on top of it, and then hope you're still around in 2 to 3 weeks. Because again, we go through a lot of people. But like I said, the book club was really good. They were even nice enough. Like the organizer, she came prepared. She had this piece of paper she had written her notes on for questions to ask. And there's even a couple of times specifically that I she turned to me like, all right, who was your favorite character, Mr. Hunter? Like, really just gave me the floor, was so very welcoming. And I wasn't sure what to think about it at first, but I actually had fun. And I think I'm going to try to go again next month. They hold it monthly. Next month's book is Reader's Choice, so we'll see what happens there. But that was pretty freaking cool. I'm glad I went. Like, wasn't what I expected, but I'm glad I went because I'm slowly tearing down the social anxiety thing. They were very super nice. It was cool, and got me a bunch of books too from the book sale. That was a part of the that. But oh yeah, got another David Baldacci book, The Camel Club. Let me see what else we got here. I haven't read any of these. Oh yeah, my wife. This one looks like something up her alley, but it's Camp Scare. You ever read Camp Scare by Delilah S. Dawson? She's a New York Times best-selling author, I tell you what. We got... Oh, yeah, I said I was going to try to, maybe try a romance novel or something. I got a Danielle Steele book, Malice, little paperback book there. Pretty sure she writes romance novels. I got quite a bit. I was trying to help out the library. Got this... The House of Wolves by James Patterson, Mike Lupica. I've read a few James Patterson novels already, so I thought that, pretty solid choice right there. Can't go wrong with that. Hold on. I forgot I got this one. This one's called The Scarpetta Factor by Patricia Cornwell. Cornwell. I think it's a... Yeah. I've seen this guy's name quite a bit. Clive Cussler. And Justin Scott. It's The Race. I think it's another historical fiction, actually. I've been having some pretty good luck with the historical fiction. This one looks like maybe World War I. So we get to read the sequel there. And there's one more. Hold on. And just going along with the romance stuff. I got Desperation and Death. This one I'm actually pretty proud of because I got this at the library for like $1. All the hardcover books were $1. All the paperbacks were 50 cents. I got that for $1, and then after we left the book club, we went to Walmart for not for books, but for something else. But I always stop by the book section now, and I saw that same book for like $7. I was like, "Yeah, I got a deal." I'm hoping to read the first one of those first, though. It's called Desperation and Death. It says J.D. Robb. That's a pseudonym for Nora Roberts, but there's like 50 plus books in this series. I think you can read them out of order. All the mysteries are contained in one book. But I'd still like to maybe read the other books if at all possible. But yeah, that's my book haul right there. Yeah. What else was I going to tell you about? Oh yeah, so the other big thing. Should I save this for another video? I might save it for another video. Come back next. No. So I joined NetGalley. So NetGalley, it's like so I'm on this other website called Keymailer, and it's basically where you can go and request Steam keys for indie games, and then like they give you the key and you review them and make a video or stream them or whatever. It's pretty cool. NetGalley is basically that, but for books. So, like, I wasn't sure if I was going to get approved for anything because, I'm not really popular when it comes to, like, the book reviews and stuff like that yet. I think at the time I had 7 reviews on Goodreads. I've been on Goodreads a lot lately. But I requested like 3 books on NetGalley, and I got approved for all of them. And they're all digital copies. So I've been really loving the physical copies, but all the ones on NetGalley are digital copies, which I didn't expect to enjoy that so much, but it's very portable. I've read most of them on my breaks at work. So the first one was An Incidental Nazi by Catherine Gillard. It was actually another World War II historical fiction, if you couldn't tell. And it's about these choir boys from Vienna, Austria. So they're going on this world tour, like singing for people. They go like all through Europe, and they go over to the United States, and then they finally come back to Australia in Melbourne, and they're doing their shows there. And then while they're there, they get the news that Germany has invaded Poland. The war has begun. So now there's a travel ban back to Vienna. And so most of the book takes place in Australia, which is a really cool perspective for the World War II setting. Because usually, you know, it's always over in Europe, usually, and like the battles and stuff. This one, you know, it was in Australia, so like there were definitely references because they would get the news about what was happening because they were trying to get back to their homeland of Vienna. But it wasn't like people getting blown up and stuff. It was a really good, it was a really interesting read. I quite enjoyed it, especially coming right off of Strangers in Time. So that one was good. The second one I read, possibly my favorite, it's a book. It's literally called Shit Show. And you got to look it up. The cover is this toilet out in the middle of like an intersection, and that's all it is. This freaking book reminded me of like an episode of Rick and Morty or something. So it's about this like corporate warfare. There's this guy that's got to pretty much save the company because it's this company that makes these AI drones or something. But, you know, classic trope, they've gone rogue and one of them has taken over the body of like the company's CEO or something, and like the CEO is going around like eating interns. I'm trying not to spoil too much here. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. And so the guy he's trying to go back in time to prevent it from happening, and there's this toilet. It's on the first floor in the 5th stall. It's a time traveling toilet, so he goes in, he's like holding the rails, he's like grunts really hard, and it transports him back. It's always on that same toilet, always in the same building, just a different time period. That one was hilarious. I can't it's hard to explain, but it's a whole lot of it's a whole lot of like someone will go in and like blow up an entire window, and like everyone just keeps working at their desk like it's nothing. It's one of those where chaos is just commonplace. I loved it, dude. Like I said, if you like South Park, Rick and Morty, any of those kinds of shows, check it out. I think it comes out in September, October. This is again, NetGalley is like you get advanced reader copies is what they call them. So you get to read them before they come out, and then you leave a review. You don't have to leave a review, but it's good to because it increases your chances of getting more books. Fantastic little book though. It's called Shit Show. And then the last one I read, I just finished this one today. It's called Sheep Classified. Another like funny book, but in a very different way. And it also features time travel, oddly enough. This one is, it's very low stakes. It's very slow paced. Coming from like the thrillers and stuff, I definitely noticed a pace change. There's not really a plot to it. It's a very experimental type of book. I enjoyed it, but it was a very different flavor coming in from Shit Show or even, the Incidental Nazi. So it's about this doctor. His name's Dr. Shepard, which I thought was funny. And then he's got this sheep that can actually talk. And it sounds like a weird premise, but it's actually so freaking calm. It's very British. A lot of even the description says a lot of like British dry humor. It's like I remember like one part's man, I can't even remember now. There's one that's like, so Dr. Shepard was really stressed out or something. He tilted his head back and looked up at the ceiling. The ceiling declined to comment. I totally butchered that. I'm sorry, but it was a really interesting one nonetheless. Here's a like very interesting book. It's another one of those I wouldn't say like, you know, if you're trying to get into reading, probably don't start with that one. But it was very wholesome. Like it's definitely one that like I think there's a clear audience for it. It's not for everyone, but there is a certain type of person that's going to like that. I feel it's very wholesome. It doesn't even have any bad words in it, except for like one, but it's censored. And I think it's like I think it could be a great comfort read for someone. But on the other hand, like again, shit show. If you don't mind cussing, because shit show, it's in the title, but then there's a lot of cussing in the book too. Constantly calling the interns bitches and stuff like that. it's like no one blinks an eye when someone sacrifices an intern in the book. That if you don't mind the cussing and stuff, that is a great one to start with. I found it freaking hilarious. It's only like 222 pages. Compared to like what I've been reading lately is like 300 to 400 pages, and it's like it's got the big print, the fast chapters. I think I finished it within like a couple of afternoons. If you're really serious about it, you can probably finish something like that in an afternoon. But if I remember to, I'll leave links to all of them down below. Just shit show was something else, man. It was something else entirely. I'll probably go more into detail on that one and the others and the other stuff I've been reading as we get into the this next month. But yeah, friend. And what I'm reading, I think I already showed you this, but what I'm hold on. The one I'm reading right now is Man of War by Sean Parnell, from the New York Times best-selling author of Outlaw Platoon. And pretty interesting so far because like it's written by a guy who was actually in the military. He's a retired U.S. Army infantry captain who served in some of the heaviest combat of the Afghan War. He recounts those battles in vivid detail during his leadership presentations for the nation's most successful teams and corporations. He is also the co-founder of the American Warrior Initiative, a charity that honors and empowers our veterans. Parnell lives with his 3 children near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So pretty cool. You know, this one's been really good so far too. If you're wondering, he goes into good detail with like the military terminology, like you've got the FN-7. I think that's what he called it. And then he'll tell you like what kind of ammo cartridges he's using and stuff like that. There's a V-22 Osprey in one of the scenes. Sorry, I'm very tired. Like trying to go off of memory here, but I'm tired. But I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. 36 minutes. That's a good little conversational video. Hope you had a good time, my friend. I hope you enjoyed the video. Share it with a friend. I do want to get back to the games eventually. Because the developers have been super nice. I want to support them too. But man, I've been really into books lately. And I just wanted to sit and talk about that because that's what I've been doing while I've been at work. In between working. Yeah, I'd get work done, I'd go on break or read some books. It's been a good one. You know. Thank you so much for being amazing, my friend. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one, buddy. Bye.